Hello fellow cultivators, welcome to the part 2 of the Reborn Bird or Nether Feather guide of the game Tale of Immortal. In the previous part we have talked about just from basic damage point of view, like how much damage and how much cooldown reduction it changes and how much does it change your DPS for different type of birds. But actually in many builds you are using the bird not because it has the best damage from the martial spiritual skills. Instead, you are using this type of bird mostly because their ethereal powers can be great for your build. And this episode's part 2 will be talking about different ethereal powers. So we're starting from Bluebird, the most 65% the fastest one, goes to Rock, which is the slowest one. And I'm afraid this video will become still quite long, even though I've already put it in 2 parts. So simply because there are quite a lot of things to talk about in those ethereal powers, and I want to showcase you like how does these powers look and what do they do, because some of their true potential hides in those bonus stats, bonus sub skills instead of the main thing of it. So yeah, let's start. And so before this, there are something in common that I need to first mention about. So ethereal power, how do you activate it? So basically most of them need some preconditions for you to activate it. And then once you can activate it, you can see your left mouse button that still starts shining with light. And then you just click on your left mouse button once, it will trigger the ethereal power. And for most of the birds, once you trigger the ethereal power, you lose your general martial or spiritual skills. So that is a cost you need to take into account. Because, some of the ethereal powers can last quite long, and if during the entire time you do not have any martial skill damage, it's actually a pretty big DPS loss, and you do not want that. So take that into account. Now, coming back to Bluebird. So, you can see here I have a lot of bonus, but in practice you can only have 3 bonus. That's one thing. I'm listing everything here so that I can show you what are them. 2. Out of the bonus, one of them is actually strengthened 2 times, which is the recharging time thing. So when you just choose it, it's supposed to be -3 seconds instead of -6. And while you progress through Reborn, you can choose a bonus to strengthen it. You have 2 chances to do it. So in this case, I always strengthen the one about recharging time or whatever recharging conditions. And so that's just 2 things. So what a Bluebird does, it can use its ethereal power every 30 seconds. Basically, it unleashes Bluebird Blast, which is actually a green giant bird flowing into the thing and deals a great ton of damage. Okay, and also another thing is for every summon unit on the battlefield, its damage increase 2%, up to an increased percentage of 20%. Wow, that's quite a big thing. It looks like it's good for a summon build, which is actually mostly not too wrong, even though someone would have better options. But now, what are the bonus? Recharging time -6 seconds. So Bluebird is a simple one. Its condition is really just every 30 seconds. And if you're -6, it is already strengthened 2 times. Okay, it's supposed -3, so it makes it every 24 seconds. Because you anyway, this is still longer than this, common cooldown is 20 seconds. So basically every 24 seconds you can use its power. I usually always choose this one because I like it. Also, Bluebird blast damage, flat 25% increase, good. Now the third one I usually choose is when it hits ally unit, which includes yourself, restore 10% of lost HP. It's a good healing. And then the last few, there are 2 things which is about, 3 things about summons. One is every summon unit provide 2 more damage, but this is not much useful because there's 20% upper limit, even if you have 2%, which means you only need 5 units to reach the upper, but okay. Also, every unit summoned, it reduces the Bluebird Blast recharge -1 second. So this is probably not bad. probably you can use it to replace the recharging time minus 6 seconds if you are using a summon build. So basically this is interchangeable. And then of course, after casting the Bluebird Blast, damage done by all summon units increased by 10%. Not too bad. I mean, it's a very small number, but why not? And finally, it attracts a lot of toads from nearby towards it. They deal 4,000 damage on to the enemy hit on the path, which is actually not a small damage because each toad is 4,000, but there are quite some. There are around 10 toads. And all these 10 toads count as summon unit. So if you are doing a summon build, this number of summon unit will increase your all summon unit damage if you are using the correct build. So yeah, in general not bad. It looks like quite good, but the best part of Bluebird is actually, I will show you how to use it in the battle. So we go into Martial Skill Arena, and I will probably show it only once. You see that normally this thing is like this, okay? However, if I wait for 24 seconds, then then I should be able to cast this. And I have to talk something 24 seconds. So remember I talked about that the worst part of this thing is when you use Ethereal power, it disables this attack. And you see here now it's shining green. I click this, that's a giant bird coming, and this is a toad coming in. And you see that what's the best part? This giant blue bird, Ethereal power blast, only lasts 0.5 seconds. And immediately after that, I can attack again. So it almost does not affect your martial skill at all. So that makes it actually the best, one of the best things you can do just for the martial skill. If you do not want to use the Ethereal power, like this is a giant good damage. But the best part, it doesn't affect the martial skill power. And here comes the next bird in our list, Miemeng. And I'm really sorry, I think I said that 80% of damage ones are Golden Rock, which is wrong. It's actually Miemeng and the Firefly. So ignore whatever I said before. So Miemeng is actually one of the functional birds. So as you know that just from damage point of view, 80% is one of the worst choice. It's only the final DPS is actually literally just 1, or say multiplied by 2 if there are 2 birds. However, you use Miemeng if your build is actually centered around your ultimate. And this is because Miemeng have this one thing. So look at what does it do, the Ethereal power. So basically, it can use it once you deal 600 times damage. As you can see, this is again, you probably want to have a fast attack so that you can use the Ethereal power earlier. But of course, you can't change the bird type in order to achieve that, but you can get it from other skills. And once it launches lightning orbs going around, which will bounce around in the thing around 10 times, okay? And it does some damage. It lasts quite long, by the way. And during this long time, you lose your martial skill. And each bounce will reduce the current remaining cooldown of ultimate for 1 second, and that's the best part for Miemeng. And with this, usually you have 60 seconds cooldown for your ult, even flat minus 12 from sub skills become 48. If you have a best mastery to get you 25% cooldown, because 36, even with your blood power, blood energy, you still got something around 30 seconds. That's just there, and that's a long time. Most of things, because most of ultimate lasts like 12 seconds ish. Now, if you want to have your ult all the time, the best way is probably simply like this. Reduce your cooldown using the Miemeng, activate it, and all the balls going around. This will be very good. So what are the other bonus? One, again, the attempts of damage minus 240. It's supposed to be 120. I strengthened 2 times. So instead of 600 times, now you only need 360 times, almost halved. And I think this is quite good. This is because you want to use this Ethereal power to reduce the cooldown. And if you, after 1 circle, you are not be able to use it again, this will be very awkward. And also, it there is sub-skills like bounce it 10 more times, or flighting speed plus 10%, which makes it, bounce faster. Damage interval, I don't know much. 6 more orbs, and also every bounce of orb restores 0.8 energy for yourself. That looks very, very tiny. I'm not even sure what is that about. If it doesn't mean 80%, then that looks actually quite too much. And then every bounce of item or equals damage or next out by 2%. Up to an increase 200%. So that's also quite good. Another good reason why you want this guy to be, if you build centered on your out. And finally, when lightning orb deals damage, they have 15% chance to take damage. Okay, it's not much. So I would choose attempt to do damage in minus, and also each time bounce will increase your ultimate. And finally, probably bounce 10 more times or flighting speed, or 6 more orbs, whichever one you can get. And how does this thing guy look? Get into the macro arena. I need to wait, I do not have out, sorry. So to showcase Miemeng is a bit difficult in this martial skill arena because it's really huge. It takes a long time for those balls actually bouncing, so it's not clear how much faster this makes this cooldown shorter. And so let's use our out and use this. And you see that I'm not attacking with my martial skill, I'm just shooting off lightning bolts. And this lasting quite some time. And you can see this lightning bolts coming, and after some time, lightning bolt shooting out dot, I'm attacking again. But those lightning bolts are still rolling, and you could sort of see there are some fast acceleration of the cooldown reduction, and I'm already be able to use my out again. That's definitely less than 48 seconds. So it can be used to reduce the cooldown of your out. And you see those are still bouncing. And now I can use the Miemeng again to shoot out even more. So the direction where you're facing depends also changes where you are shooting your balls. And you can see this time these balls are going this way rather than this way. So be careful about, I can use it again. So it's quite fast. Quite good for your ultimate. The next one in our list, which is also 80% damage, is Firefly. So this, when the bird thing was first introduced, Firefly was actually quite powerful. And I think Firefly or Candlelight, one of them was quite powerful, but then they nerfed it. So it's not that good anymore. So let's see what does it do. It can use Ethereal power after special skill trigger 20 times crits. That's not that easy. First of all, that means you need to use your special skill frequently enough. Also, you need to crit, so you probably want a Murderous Rise with you. But otherwise, it's very possible the entire battle you cannot even use its Ethereal power. And as you know, the basic skill 80% damage is not good. And it summons 20 wave white flames from beyond towards south. The white flame will inflict cold flames on the enemy to sear permanently, dealing damage per second, stacking up to 6 times. So the damage is not too bad. And for every maximum energy you have, 1000 power increased by 1%, which is, let me see, how much energy do I have? I have 42,000, and that's 42% for its power. So it's not bad. Cooldown 20 seconds, that's the same everything. Then you have a number of special skills, crits to unlock -8, again double strengthened, so only 12 crits. Ethereal power will summon more flames, maximum stacks, movement speed, etc. Takes 10% more damage. And now this is a kind of special thing. Every 20 seconds, the cold flame seared enemy suffers the burnt down effect lasts 5 seconds, and within this 5 seconds, every time you do damage to the enemy with such effect, your motion skill cooldown -0.4 seconds. So it looks very interesting, right? So 5 seconds you have much faster motion skill cooldown. So the whole idea is probably with a sword divine power, so that every time you use your motion skill, you can use your special skill again, and you have very low cooldown motion skill, you end up to having very low cooldown special skill, and in that way you fulfill this thing to basically use your Firefly again. So that's the whole idea. I think this is time before they introduced the cooldown 20 seconds. Before that, there's no such cooldown. So before this whole idea is, there are things like Bluebird. The whole precondition is wait for 30 seconds. And then there are things like Firefly. The whole precondition is already tricky to use special skills. And the birds like this do not have this internal 20 seconds cooldown. However, people find out a way that, basically we can almost always fulfill the condition if you set a correct mode, and you can always use Ethereal power. And that found that to be too strong, that's why they added 20 seconds cooldown to the whole thing. Not good. And in practice, I found it's 0.4 seconds reduced action within 5 seconds, still a bit clunky to use. It's not very powerful. Like, if I'm actually using an infinite motion skill plus special skill mode like Water Sword, I don't need it as well. I don't need Firefly. I already have the nearly zero cooldown motion plus the special skill. So there are two things I could think they can still be useful. One is actually, let me just show here. One is this. So Thunder Tamer, the 4 transitional effect, reduce 80% of lightning motion skill cooldown. And so this brings your automatic motion skill already to very low, around 2 seconds ish, 1 to 2 seconds. And now with this additional motion skill cooldown reduction, you are getting better. Another one is Agile Dragon from Water. If I have anyone here, I use this one. No, that's Stormy Sea. So here, look at the 2 set transition effect. When you ice aura deals damage, water motion skill cooldown reduced by 2 seconds. So if you're using Icy Dragon, Icy Aura plus Sword Agile Dragon, that's another way to use this. And I think that's mostly it. And let's see how does it actually looks in the game. And notice that you need to have crit in order to trigger it. So in order to show you this, I will have to first set the crit resistance to 0 for this thing to work. So let's turn on the out. Oh, that's too far away. Now let's switch on this. And the moment I switch on this, I don't have attack, as you can see. It will take me some time. So normally I do have longer cooldown, right? However, if I have the thing on, then the cooldown is not super clear, let's be honest about that. The next bird in our list is Arcane Bird, and if you have watched my videos, you already knew what it is about. It's all about speed. So what does it do? When you use Ethereal power, after you use special skill 10 times, you have the thing to minus 10 times into 4, minus 4, stress into 2 times, so you need 6 times special skill. It will transform with 10 blades spinning around, which is just purple thing, more like purple ball thing, and deal some damage. But the main point is here. After Ethereal is used, once you deal critical damage, there's 50% chance to restore 1 recharging point for every recharging skill for 12 seconds. So if you crit, you recover 1 recharging point, you can recharge again. So basically, if you have Murderous Rise, and during that time you activate it, you have infinite charging spear. That's crazy. And you can also use the Demon Blade to make it a true 0 cooldown Demon Blade build, spear build. And increase duration, increase blade, this and that. Or once it ends, it will strike once more, deal some very high damage. And 20% damage increase. Spin speed increase, actually, since it deals damage every time it hits it. So spin speed increase actually act like damage increase. And then there's also each damage you take won't exceed 30% of maximum vitality, actually, which is quite great as well. You saved one destiny, which is consumed mana. So, Arcane Bird, really, just for spear. I mean, I have already showcased this in many of my spear builds, but why don't we just show this again? Alright, let's see this. We just need to use our charge skill 6 times. And purple now. Now let's just... Each time I do this, I recover this. So I just keep on charging. As long as I'm doing crit. This is how crazy this thing is. Now the thing is, it's better you remember how long this thing is, because it will take 20 seconds. Because right now I'm sure 20 seconds is already finished, but I do not have 6 charges. So that's one thing. And once this guy, the Arcane Bird is on, I'm just keep on charging. It's crazy. But you do need to crit for it to work, so get your you know. Yeah, now it's done. Have to wait. As you can see, even if I charge 6 times, but it's not recovering because I didn't wait. So after the whole thing is done, you need to wait for like 8 seconds-ish, then you start charge again to get that 6 charge of preconditions done. That's how you use it. The next one is Golden Rock. Again, it's actually the same thing as Arcane Bird, which is 95%, but I don't think it's that useful, this one. So what does it do? Ethereal power. It can use Ethereal power around it after launch. 250 crit attacks, that's a lot of crit attacks. Even if you have -100, that's still 150 crit attacks. If you do not have Murder Strike, you probably can never trigger it. And it will shoot out 10 golden feathers at a selected position per second for 5 seconds, and each feather dealing some damage. Now, the whole thing about, I mean, there are things like increased feather number, increased duration, but there's fun thing is, so those feathers return to Golden Robe after reaching the farthest point, dealing 420 damage, and when it's active, after the golden feathers themselves can deal crit. And every time they do, every 5 times they do crit, again you need Murder Strike. 6 extra golden feathers shooting a fang area, dealing more damage. And also when you deal the quick damage 5 times, target the market for 10 seconds, takes extra damage. Also casting special skill shoots an exclusive extra cluster golden feather in a fang area. So basically it's an ultimate, if it deals critical damage, it shoots out 10 extra feathers. So it's all about crit. You just need to crit, and you hope for this golden feather to shoot more and more. And there is this idea that, yeah, if in the ideal case that you keep on critting, and all those golden feathers shooting more and more, you will do a lot of damage. But in practice, I found it very hard to use. And let's see how it works. Like, first of all, you need a long time for it, a lot of crit for it to actually useful. Let's again set the crit resistance to 0 so we can crit. You know, that's just my beat skill, forget about that. And it's still not usable. Come on. We need to use it. Okay, now let's use it. That's a golden feather. You see that it's not that much. The golden feather, that's just it. It's not a lot. I mean, I would rather simply use my martial skill, is much faster. Seriously, so this golden feather thing is not that much good. And it's so hard to use it again. Like, I still haven't triggered it. Can you imagine? How long time do you need? Can I do it? Okay, let's try it again. This all these golden feathers. It's shooting out, but yeah, it's not much damage. That was not really worth it. The next one I release is Phoenix, and it used to be one of the best bird if you just want to attack. You don't care much about Ethereal power. And the whole thing is, again, because there used to be no 20 seconds cooldown. So because it's, again, the precondition is like you need to deal damage 560 times to enemy close within a 300 range, which is not that bad because you just need to get pretty close to them. And that is my playstyle all the time. But I think it's more designed for blade build. You have very close range, and also using Phoenix will burn 6% your current vitality every 0.5 seconds. You are losing a lot of HP. But it deals damage equal to your burn vitality, so it's good. But you have some life steal, again, really good for blade build, right? Then power bonus, obviously, attempts minus 224. That's almost, again, a 40% decrease. So that you can use it much earlier, much faster. And before this cooldown was introduced, this is more like, because the moment you're getting close to them and you are using your Ethereal power, it's automatically doing damage. So basically, once you are doing this damage, and immediately you can use it again. So you can continuously using it, deals a lot of damage. Now with a 20 seconds cooldown, it's cut into oblivion. But then, yeah, burning interval minus 0.1 seconds, that's 20% of increase, damage increase. So starting from 0.5, now 0.4. And then burning extra max mortality, which means that's from 6 to 7.5%. So that's like 25% damage increase, but also you are risking more HP loss. Then the next similar, flat 25% increase, okay. And then one thing is good, you are using it, seeing martial skill damage increase by 10%. Okay, 10%, not too bad. And then once it's over, you recover 20%. That is actually not bad at all. Like sometimes you cannot recover it in time. Get this thing. You can use Phoenix with, I think, 3 fire rule field, which will activate, make your damage higher once you lose HP. So this does let you continue losing HP, so it's good. Also, if you want, you can use this with this counter attack, this Destiny, which increases damage depending on how much HP you lost, and maximum 100% damage increase is quite good. However, counter attack does have duration time, and because Phoenix have a cooldown, it's not that suitable anymore. If Phoenix does not have a cooldown, it's one of the perfect combination with counter attack, and that's the time when I would say counter attack is actually very good damage. Destiny is almost like S tier, like one of the best. You combine with Phoenix, but now with 20 second cooldown, you cannot guarantee you're always losing HP, so it's not that useful anymore. But still, Phoenix has one good thing. You see that it's really designed so that you are still doing your martial skill damage, right? That's why Phoenix does not make you stop attacking. That's the best part of Phoenix still. So let's try to use it. Let's use it in the whatever it's designed way. Let's use a blade build. And yeah, sure. Mind skill, okay, I'm too lazy to change mind skill. Let's go. Because you just need to do a lot of attacks, so you don't really care about, crit, so I don't need to change customize stats. Come on. I'm doing a lot of attack. You can see still it's not that easy to trigger it. Oh, now it's time. And this is Phoenix. As you can see, I am supposed to drop HP, but I'm completely stealing it back. And I need to wait for 20 seconds for this to use it again, and that's the part I do not like. Otherwise, I really like Phoenix thing. You remember that when the Phoenix thing was actually switched on, I am still doing my damage. It's literally 0.1 second-ish you are, activating. but you are still you can still use your martial skill. That's the best part about this. And as you know that the damage is quite good. It's almost the same and more than Bluebird. So if you simply want a blade build, I would still probably use Phoenix. As you can see, I'm still attacking. So yeah, quite nice. The next one is actually Peacock. So now we are jumping to 125%, so a bit higher damage, but slower type of birds. Peacock is again the ultimate centered bird. So if you are not as centered like Miemeng, it just really make you out really good. But the Peacock, instead of making you out good, it's actually itself. It has really high damage. So it casts its, so basically it starts its power every time you use your ultimate, and so that your ultimate probably have more than 20 seconds cooldown. So the 20 second cooldown here is not that limiting. So its feathers fly to a select position, dealing a lot of damage every 0.3 seconds. That's a lot. And also, when it vanishes, all the feathers coming back and dealing even more damage. So it's really high damage, very high damage thing. And you can increase duration, even increase more damage. And reduce the intervals. So instead of 0.3, now it becomes 0.2. That's 33% of damage increase actually. And the area bigger. Also, when it's casting Ethereal power, every special skill will lengthen the Ethereal power by 2 seconds. So it's quite nice. But only after an increase of 4 seconds. So and when it's casting, whenever your ultimate deals damage, it shoots 8 extra feathers, dealing even more. So Peacock, it's just giant damage dealer. And whatever this poison thing takes, it's not that much. It's most about this. And so it does take away your martial spiritual skill when you're using it. However, if I recall correctly, you just need to use your motion skill once, and then you recover with your martial skill. And let's see if that is still the case. So there is some time you do not have a martial skill, but I think it's quite worth it because Phoenix have really high damage, and if you can use your special skill during this time, right, you can make this thing last very long. Maybe that means that the second time I use my motion skill, now I can use my martial skill, as you can see, and the Phoenix, the Peacock power is still there. I should really stop saying Phoenix. The next one is Vermillion Bird, and sadly, I really, just like Golden Rock, I really couldn't find any good use for this one, except maybe it's have higher damage compared to Golden Rock. So yeah, I mean, it does not really have anything really makes you feel, oh, this is good. So what does it do? So after you casting martial skill 150 times in total, at least this is simple, because just 150 attacks, and you will probably almost guaranteed to trigger this before the 20 second cooldown. So you don't need to choose this minus 80 times precondition thing. So instead you can probably choose make it higher damage or less interval. So it covers select position ahead, gives giving of hit enemy, dealing not that high damage every 0.5 seconds. I mean, just compare this to the Peacock. You see the difference in number. That's a lot. Even though both are similar basic skill. But why there's such a big difference? I don't know. Anyways, so 0.5 seconds minus 0.1, so that bonus is like 20% increase. It's less than 25. And after it's finished casting Ethereal power, increase self martial skill damage 15% for 5 seconds. Yeah, it's not that high, and 5 seconds not that long either. And the damage area increase more. Okay. Every one time Ethereal power deals damage, motion skill cooldown 0.4 seconds. So it's actually like that guy. Now I understand. Well, as I mentioned, even that guy wasn't that great. Well, I don't remember the bird name. Like, there is really only useful. So this minus 0.5 seconds, it's not that clear. But okay, one thing here. So at least it's not every 20 seconds. For 5 seconds you get this. Instead, it's all the time. And if you want to use this, you want your damage interval to minus 0.1 seconds. So you are doing your Ethereal power doing damage every 0.4 seconds. But every 0.4 seconds, your motion skill cooldown minus 0.4 seconds. So in a way, you just half of your motion skill cooldown. That's at the best, I would say. So it's not super useful because compared to the other one, which is all the damage you do, it will reduce the cooldown. Okay. And yeah, after you cast the power burst out of flame, yeah, sure, it's not even high. So that's the thing, like, the whole idea is probably for your motion skill cooldown, but it's, not that useful because it really depends on this guy to deal damage. But it can have some use, I would say. Okay, we can use it now. That's the Vermillion. My base cooldown is 2 seconds, and while the Vermillion Bird is doing attack, I feel it really can't really see that well, but I can feel it's doing better. This time let's just see how it works. So basically this is the word. It's the same. And you see my cooldown, 7 seconds, drops pretty fast. So it does have an effect. But around that time, you're losing your martial skill, and that giant fireball is not doing that much damage. So in the end, it's not really worth it. Like, even the other kit, I also don't think it's worth it neither. The next one is Candlelight. And again, if you have seen some of my videos, you know that this is for water sword or fire sword. So you can sort of see it from the fact it can use Ethereal power after use motion skill 4 times. And what build has the shortest motion skills cooldown? That is sword. And yeah. So what does it do? So every Nether feather shoots 40 tracking black flames. So in one of my water sword videos, you can see a lot of black flames, and many people asking what are those things. But those are Candlelight stuff. Each flame deals some damage. That's not much. For every 1,000 maximum focus, damage power increase 1%. I mean, the base power is not that much. And bonus shoots 2 seconds, extra seconds black flame, good. Damage 25%, not much useful. More flames, that's good. And that's the gear thing. After Ethereal power deals every 300 times to the same enemy, your skill damage increased by 180% for 4 seconds. 180 here is because I strengthened 2 times, starting from 90, and then increased to 100, how much? 35, and then 180. And that is the main point of the whole thing. For that, you need your Ethereal power to deal a lot of damage, so you want it to have a lot of black flames. So you probably want to shoot 2 extra seconds, and 8 more flames. That's the 3 bonus you should choose. And that is why it's theoretically best for fire sword. Because once you use fire motion 4 times, you're already building up a lot of fire flames. And then you use this thing, and for 4 seconds your damage increase 180%. At that time you already have a lot of damage amplification from fire flame, so it's crazy amount of damage. In practice, if you use it too long, many times the fire flames you become too laggy. So I won't show you the fire flame, also because it's too many red things on the ground, it's hard to see this stuff. But yeah, let's just use the water sword as an example to show you. So first of all, it's really easy to trigger 4 times the motion skill. I mean, for water sword, that's nothing. Okay, it's already, you see the black flames out of me. That is Also, the best thing about a water sword is you need to trigger the bleed, right? And when you are using this thing, you don't have your martial skill, so you cannot really apply the debuff to the target. But since you have all these things, your phantoms to apply the bleed debuff, so you don't need that. So even with the black flame, without the martial skill, you can still use it. You can still continually using it. And yeah, the problem is, of course, you don't get that much value from the 180% of skill increase. But still, I mean, you are doing, in 4 seconds, you can cast a lot of Shadow Sword and a lot of damage as well. And if I'm using Fire Sword, my DPS should be maybe 4 or 5 million. No, that's how crazy it is. Last but not least, bird we're talking about is Rock. It's actually one of the best ones. First of all, it is 158% damage one, which means it has 1.13 total DPS increase. So it's highest DPS. But the main point you want to use it is not for that, but it's Ethereal power. So what does the Ethereal power do? Every 30 seconds you can use it, and you will launch a giant laser beam, blue beam, in front of you for 6 seconds, dealing damage every 0.3 seconds to the enemy. Okay, you can choose to reduce recharging time. You can choose to decrease the damage intervals, which is okay, it's good. I mean, more damage, again more damage, duration longer, every 3 times deals damage, you have more damage, and okay, when deals damage, enemy agility minus 45 seconds, not much. And last one, dealing damage, again extra damage. Okay, it's all damage. But the main point is, whenever Ethereal power deals damage, self special skill cooldown minus 0.8 seconds. Here it's twice strengthened. Initially it's minus 0.4 seconds, and strengthen 0.6, strengthen another time 0.8. And that means every 0.24, which is 0.3 minus 0.06 seconds, you hit the enemy, your Ethereal power hits the enemy, and your special skill cooldown reduced 0.8 seconds. It's great. I mean, it's not like the Vermillion Bird, which 0.4 for your motion skill cooldown. It's also not like Firefly. I remember the name now, which is every 20 seconds, there's 5 seconds you can reduce your motion skill cooldown. No, it's very simple special skill cooldown. It's almost as good as Miemeng for your out cooldown, and it's still much easier. And I recommend Rock for any build you want to have good special skill. You know, when you need to use a lot of special skill at one short amount of time. In 6 seconds or 7 seconds, you are almost like 0 cooldown special skill. You are in discard mode. It's quite good. Now, what's especially good for Rock is actually summon build, like wood or earth. And the reason is quite simple. You want to, use your, in that short amount of time, use a lot of your special skills, make a lot of summons. The faster you mass up the summons, the more damage your team will get, if you're building your summon team properly, of course. So let's see, what does Rock do? Alright, as you can see, my Rock is ready. Now let's shoot out the laser beam and just see how fast my special skill cooldown drops. During this time, I almost have 0 cooldown. I have so many small flowers summoned, and that is great. So yeah, that's how Rock works. It works really good for a wood or earth build, or for any build that you want to have a fast 0 cooldown special skills. I mean, if you remember, even for the standard 0 cooldown special skill builds like Blade and stuff, it only works when there's only one enemy. When you're against people like 3 Immortal or something, you can't have 0 cooldown. But if you have Rock, you still have almost 0 cooldown special skills, no matter how many enemies were there. That's another advantage of this. So yeah, Alright. Okay, so it's time for summary. It is again a quite long video as I think, because there are quite a lot of birds. And yeah, so my two favorites birds, bluebird and rock. You know, in the two end of the two spectrum, bluebird fast and rock slow but high damage. And rock is really for special skills, a lot of them. And bluebird is just in general quite good, like, you know, very fast attack and high damage, and also doesn't really affect your martial skills. And apart from this, like, there are some birds which are good for some builds. Like, you know, if you are using spear, obviously, definitely use an Arcane Bird. There's no doubt about that. That's just how it is. And then if you are really centered around your ult, you can use Miemeng. Miemeng makes your ult cooldown much less. And if you simply want to use the damage of the Ethereal Bird itself, Ethereal power itself, then use Peacock. It has very high damage. As long as you have a ult cooldown, then use Peacock. And apart from those ones, Phoenix used to be really good for Blade. Now it's and counterattack. Now it's not that great anymore. However, it's still quite good because it does not affect your martial skill. And then we have Candlelight, can be good for Water Sword, Fire Sword. You don't really need to use it because they are already powerful by themselves. And apart from this, Firefly, it's a bit awkward. So, I mean, I said it can be useful for, you know, Thunder Tamer lightning build, but not exactly. And same thing goes for Vermillion Bird, and it's even worse. And again, finally, Golden Rock, also I don't think it's that useful. So I think that would be. And I know someone will say, but there's one more bird you haven't talked about. First of all, that is not Nether feather. That is some whatever godly feather, and it's Johnson who give you at the very end of the game, where you're choosing a certain ending and you are fighting the final boss on the top of the mountain, and after that you will get this holy feather. And because technically you still need one more fight to end the game, you choose that route, so you can roam around with that holy feather with you. The problem is you don't really get the chance to customize it, and it does not really have any real speciality. Yeah, it has very high damage with this ethereal power, which again a laser beam shooting out. And I'm afraid there's no other way, no other goodness about it. And there's also I don't know how to show off, because my character, as you know, just to make those videos, I have modified this character a lot, and I do not know how to get that feather. But yeah, I think that would be it. Sorry that I promised this video quite long ago, but first I was testing a lot of stuff, like all those damage numbers stuff. Have to pull out the spreadsheet. Also, in the meantime, I was more devoted into the Rewrite Destiny list. So this video come quite late, but I hope you like it. So as usual, if you like it, please consider leave a like, subscribe, make comments, anything you want. I mean, I have quite a lot of watching time of my channel, but my subscribers are really quite less. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.